Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to our third season here at Spring Into Football. Tonight on the show, we have myself as well as Diego um, joining us here on Spring Into Football. We don't have our full crew tonight, but we just wanted to get an episode out there in the best interest of time. Not everybody was able to make it, but it's totally okay. We understand everybody has obligations to tend to. We will definitely try as our goal, closer to the season to get as many people on as we can. But just for tonight, just with circumstances, how long we haven't gotten a video out, me and Diego thought it was a good idea, us both being the hosts. Um, and kind of following along the off season, we kind of wanted to just get on an episode and see what we can deliver here for our fans. So yeah, Diego, our third season. We see it well in your background. We have a lot of changes with the new teams. We have Mike Repole taking over as basically the owner. I think Dwayne is um, indirectly stepped down, like not stepped down. He's just not as involved
Mhm.
anymore. But Danny Garcia is still within the organization, so it's going to be interesting to see how the third season pans out. Obviously, we have new teams, so that's always something that we have to be aware of. Is how do they deliver on a week to week basis and on the year. But I think it's going to be exciting. Obviously, we've seen many changes so far in just the young UFL and spring football, but I think it's going to be exciting. What do you think?
Yeah. I think that a lot of great things are coming into place. Of course, with Mike Rapole's leadership, it started out with the chaos surrounding Birmingham and if really the fans were loyal or not. But since that page has been turned, um, he's really been trying to be more serious about making the UFL somewhere to where players and fans can come about and make their dreams come true. Um, but from what I've seen with the new news and the cities, I think there's a lot to be excited for. There might be some changes to the rules. Um, and not just looking at it, I'm just very excited to see how he's going to take this and where we're going to go in 2026.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think there's so much to look forward to. Obviously, as a fan that we have been throughout the UFL, or excuse me, the XFL, the USFL, and now the UFL, which is all combined into one. I think we've seen a lot of changes, and I'm hoping this is the right thing that they have done. Well, obviously, we've seen a lot. We've seen new teams. We've seen players coming out from the NFL who were even successful in some cases, coming back to a team to try to replicate what they did. We've gotten some names in terms of like publicity. Matt Corral. We had Alex Magoo, who was formerly in the NFL. We had Davion Davis. We've had a lot of players that have played, been successful in the NFL, and they were trying to do the same in the UFL. So we've gotten a lot of brand recognition, so to speak, and hopefully, with these new teams, we can get even more. So we did have an episode in the summer with our friend Rob, kind of talked about some of these new changes, but it's been a lot different since that time. With the brands and the logos starting to come out and the uniforms and all that stuff. So, which I'm gonna ask you this question: which team are you most excited for, and why? And maybe it can be like related to the market. It can be related to maybe like if you have any past beef with them, like being a Stallions fan. Like, I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I kind of have two answers for this. I would say in terms of markets, I would say I'm excited for Columbus.
Hmm.
I think looking at it, this was always a place I wanted to see spring football come to. I mean, it's Ohio. There's a lot to look forward to, and I think they could have picked a better place than Columbus. And then they'll be playing at the former Columbus Crew Stadium, which hosts about 20,000 seats, which I
Hmm.
think is a great capacity. It's going to look full on TV. Even Bucky on Twitter himself has said that he's going to try to get a fan section going in like the northern end zone or something to
Yeah,
just
yeah.
yeah, you know that Aviators fans are gonna try to challenge us in our shirtless section and whatnot, but we will reign supreme.
Yeah, yeah,
But for our I mean, for my second answer, I'm also really excited to see where Louisville is gonna be like.
yeah,
Um, I know that there was some mixed opinions about it before the news came out, but I think once everything came out, I am pretty excited to see where the Kings will take this new direction into. They'll
yeah,
be playing at Lynn Family Stadium, which is about 15,000.
yeah,
Um, but no, I think all in all, it's going to be fascinating to see what's going to happen. But I think a lot of people, including myself, still question is why did the UFL decide to reband the Roughnecks into the Gamblers?
hmm,
I mean, Rapoli did say that he liked the historical aspect of the Gamblers and considering Jim Kelly used to play for them. Um, but at the same time, the Roughnecks had built a pretty strong brand for them since 2020. But I don't know if he just felt like that the fans still burnt out with the rebrand that they had to go through in 2024 or whatever it may be. It's a strange move, but
yeah.
aside from that, no, I think there's a lot of promising pieces.
Yeah, obviously with the Aviators, we've already seen like a huge response and like how they're treating the logo and like the brand within the Aviators. Like there's just something cool about being named the Aviators. I mean, I don't know, being in Columbus, it's obviously cool, and obviously with Louisville too. We saw an AJ Smith tweet, I think like a few weeks before the official announcement of the team. He's like, I have family out here, and he said like it would be great if Louisville can have a team. I think he
Mm-hmm.
said that. So it's like AJ Smith's coached in this league. He knows the ins and outs. He's been behind the scenes with San Antonio previously. So like now he's advocating for the league, and obviously Mike Rapoli took action on that. And I think Louisville is going to be promising. Columbus is going to be good too. Like you said, I mean it's always nice to see different things fans try to implement with shirtless section. And I already know their merch is going to be really nice. I'm definitely cop as a fan. You know, it's cool. But yeah, no, I think it's going to be great for the first
Yeah.
season with these
Um,
teams.
Another thing that I also wanted to touch upon is that Mike Rapole, in spite of all this news, has said that he's trying to make a statement with trying to get like MLS or like soccer stadiums
Hmm.
more to just
Yeah.
try to bring more of an intimate atmosphere. And we've already seen that with the Dallas Renegades moving to Frisco,
Hmm.
playing in FC Dallas Stadium, and the Gamblers moving to the Houston Dynamo Stadium, and then obviously Lynn Family Stadium's USL Stadium. So I
Yeah.
mean, a lot's happening. Orlando's also playing in an MLS venue,
Hmm.
which leaves the Ballhawks and the Stallions playing in venues that exceed over 30,000 or 40,000. So it's really, I think that this was a great move that they could have made. I know a lot of us have been trying to push this for years now.
Hmm.
And will this plan work? I think it will. We just have to wait and see.
Yeah, yeah. And then, also with the Aviators, Eric Wood and Cardale Jones, I'm actually showing it on my screen right now. They were established as the official Aviators ambassadors. So Cardale Jones, obviously, we know him from college football. We have a lot of college football fans, in my opinion, just watching the UFL. I mean, it's even greater now that we have, a former college football player who's very successful that is working with the team because he's somebody that people know. One of our good friends, Victor, he knows him well. Like he's only gonna like that team even more now. And really Ohio State fans in general. We're hoping that we can see a mass crowd for all those games. And I'm glad they kept Birmingham. I'm glad they kept St. Louis. Really, all the original teams. The teams that they didn't add. Birmingham was obviously an obvious choice in my opinion. Some people think like yeah, they weren't showing up, but at the same time, like you just can't take away from what that franchise has had, going for them. Obviously they've had the championships, they've had just the really different types of people showing up to games. You know, you have a younger crowd, you have an older crowd, and then you also have like that 30 to 40-year-old range, and that always helps. Like we're looking for new fans all the time. I know Mike Rapoli is big on that. Is like getting new people to come and watch the league. So I think it was great keeping the Renegades, a little bit of a change, Defenders, Battlehawks, and Stallions. I think it's going to be great for them this season.
Yeah, and then adding on to that topic, what are your thoughts on the league deciding to scrap both Michigan and San Antonio? I mean, Michigan was a little obvious, but no, I want to hear your thoughts to see what you think.
Yeah, so Michigan, I think, it was a hard investment for the league because they didn't. I mean, they didn't have the financials, and when you have a big stadium like Ford Field, you don't fill it up. You can't make back a lot of that money. So like it was hard for them to maintain. It was hard for them to repay all those debts. And as Mike Rapoli like taking over, like you're gonna see that right away. And he probably saw that balance sheet like within a couple weeks when he first took over, and he was probably like really upset, really frustrated because you're not gonna. I know for a fact he doesn't want those numbers going into next year on his income statement because that doesn't look good. When you're paying what I think it was a half a million was it
Mhm.
for just to have the stadium for a game. I mean that's a lot of money. Obviously NFL can afford that, and I doubt they even pay that. But it's just not even a thought for a league like us. I mean we'd rather allocate that towards obviously new teams, um, you know the stadiums for them, and much smaller venues, which we have done. Obviously we've gone to smaller venues, and it's going to help us because we can fill up more. But then, yeah, with San Antonio, I mean, I'm kind of split on that one. I think they started to build a reputation. I think in the last year they were a little bit weaker. I think their first year was a little bit better, but overall, I think um, I'm not too upset with those. It definitely took me a little while at first, but it's starting to resonate and click with me. So, but yeah, um, yeah. Thanks for asking about the just my thoughts about that. We're gonna go ahead. I want to move on to NFL updates. So obviously, we're about halfway done through the NFL. A little bit less than that. It's crazy. Like I saw NFL and CBS like blink, and we're already in week 8. And like there's a lot going on. We have lots of UFL players just showing in, week out. I wanted you to just kind of give like maybe share one or two that have kind of stood out to you. I think we've seen like 7 or 8. Honestly, it's been a lot. Um, it can be, you know, oh, well, they scored a touchdown. Oh, they played well last night. We've already seen monumental stuff. We've seen record breaking stuff. So whatever you feel is right. Maybe just give us one or two players that you can that you're familiar with.
Yeah. Thinking about NFL players, two names stand out to me. I want to stand out, or I want to start with the former Renegades kicker, Lucas Haversick for the
Hmm.
Green Bay Packers.
Yeah,
Recently kicked a 61, yeah,
yeah,
61
yeah, yeah.
yard attempt. And he was only with the Packers for about like 2 or 3 games, so still fresh, but he went out there and scored those points. And this just adds a lot more to what spring football has been trying to do and just get the players ready for the NFL. But for Lucas, this is just a great thing to see. I know that Matt LaFleur himself was saying
Hmm.
that, just for a guy that can go out there and make those kicks, he did one hell of a job. Um, and then another name that stands out to me, this one's a little more obvious. We've heard about him the last year, but I do want to shout out Dondre Tillman.
Yeah, yeah,
He has been a vital part of the Broncos defense. Always bringing the pressure. He had like what 5, 6 sacks last season.
yeah. He did a
Um,
great last season.
but no, just to see him return for the Broncos and just be what's the word, a recurring
Yeah,
piece of the
yeah.
defense, always just able to make the play. And
Yeah,
then Another one, Brandon Aubrey.
Yeah,
It's been nothing but sensational. He's made like I think he's made a 65 or a
yeah,
63.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
65. Yeah,
Slowly building up to the 70-yard range. I know at some point we'll see it, maybe in the playoffs, if the Cowboys
I hope so.
just get their shit together. But
But
no. What are
yeah,
your thoughts?
no, I agree with those picks. I mean, Tillman has been phenomenal. The Broncos defense has been phenomenal. So really, when you have a team like that, it's always great to have rotational guys like Tillman that can come in and just immediate impact because that's what he did with the Stallions. That's what he did last year with the Broncos. Broncos are getting production from a lot of guys, and obviously he's a big part of that. And then you also mentioned Aubrey. Very just staying the course, and he'll go on there whenever Coach Schottenheimer puts him out there, and he's done a great job. And then Haversick, yeah, I mean, I think I saw a tweet like he had an interview a couple weeks ago. He's like, I was thinking about being a teacher, for my local, I think elementary or middle school. Like he was thinking of giving up on football, and this 61 yarder guarantees like him a spot like within any team. Like it's hard to make a kick alone. Like we've seen missed extra points with the Giants. We've seen other teams as well. We've seen kicks
Fine,
get blocked.
Harrison Mevis.
We've seen other kickers as well getting their kicks blocked. Like it's hard to make a kick, and when you make a 61 yarder, that gives your franchise like that gives your owner confidence in that you can stay with the team in the long term. But um, I hope Lucas Haversick stays. When Brandon McManus comes back, I don't know if he will. Again, there's plenty of teams that will need a kicker. Like he will be somewhere definitely. But yeah, no, I think those are great picks. So for mine, I had Nick Whiteside. Came on the scene yesterday against the Buccaneers, who pretty good wide receiver group with Abuka. You had Evans go down, I think, in the early second half of that game, and then also Tez Johnson, Sterling Shepard. So Nick Whiteside, I think he was a former Battlehawk.
He was.
Just a really good performance from him last night. Obviously, he's where he is on the roster. I think he's wide receiver. I mean, corner 5 or 6. Like he's not never expected to be on the field, but with the Lions injuries, I think Arthur Millette was hurting a little bit. Rock Yassin went to the locker room, who was charted very high yesterday. So like it's it's great to see guys who were very low on the roster like making an impact. I mean, I think it's hard to do that even if you're a starter. Like took Turpin a little bit. Turpin's a little bit different because he's in a position that he can just you know the play is all to himself. He's a returner. The receiver's a little bit different because he's got Pickens and Lamb and Ferguson. But I think Nick Whiteside did a phenomenal job yesterday. Just overall clean performance. And I was seeing like with the Lions, like Eli's our friend and Fortis and all those guys, like they were literally saying like our fourth and fifth strings are playing better than our starters. Like sometimes that just happens because they're more motivated. They see where they are in the depth chart and they're like, okay, I want to go out and make a play. So that's really the mentality for a lot of these young guys, and I'm glad to see that Nick Whiteside stepped up when the team needed him. So um, that was my biggest one. I really wanted to highlight it. Um, Obviously, there's plenty of more names. Turpin, like we mentioned, um, Sailors has even gotten in. Sometimes when the lines go up a lot, he'll be on their active roster. Um,
Yeah.
I think Monty might have been injured, maybe a game or two. I think he was activated or called up. So like, really, just all these players just making an impact. It's great for us to see as former. We watched them in the UFL, so it's great to see them performing at this level. So yeah, so now I want to move on to where we go from here. So obviously we're November, we're approaching November. Um, the NFL is still in full swing, and we have about a month out from about a month and a half from NFL to UFL. That's why our name's spring into football because The league, obviously, we would always want it to be earlier, but I think the league has like a term in place where we can't start at a certain time. We can't start too close to the end, just for operational issues, TV related issues, like getting the infrastructure for Fox, getting the infrastructure um, for FS1, like alternate channels, right? So, what are your thoughts on like what do we do from here in terms of obviously we have free agency, players still available. Well, we have guys
Mhm.
getting signed to the CFL. We have, um, you know, guys. Obviously, you're talking about Harrison Nevis could potentially, get in the NFL. I think he will. I don't. I mean, with what the Giants had, that they're winning that game. They gave up 33 points in the fourth quarter. Like with a good kicker, I think you win that game. I mean, that's just my opinion. But um, what do you think? What do you think is kind of the next step here for the league? We obviously have about 4 months until we start. A little bit more than that, but
Yeah. Um, I think this is more of an obvious one. I see a lot of people uh discuss it on a regular basis, but the marketing should always be top priority. I know
mm,
we've seen a bit of it on some of like the Orlando fan pages that billboards have been spotted throughout
yeah, yeah,
Orlando. Same with Columbus.
mm,
The Dallas Renegades recently uh, visited their new stadium. Jamar
mm,
Smith was just at Protected for the UAB game.
mm,
So a lot's falling into place. I think Mike Rapoli, as he said, is going to just try to put the foot down, try to just do a lot more just to build the footprint of the UFL, especially with the new teams. Um, but aside from that, I want to turn the page to the New York Jets.
mm,
Of course, we know that they're 0-7 right now. They're not doing so hot,
yeah.
and they're having a lot of quarterback troubles. Um, is Adrian Martinez still on the roster?
No, he's with the 49ers.
Oh,
Remember?
that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. He actually, I think he got a couple snaps. I could be wrong because I know Mac was hurt.
I think he was about to come in, but then Mac Jones was able to come back.
Yeah,
But no, I was almost gonna mention his name because with everything that's going on, and if Tyrod Taylor were to get injured,
yeah.
you could give him some playing time. But going back to what I was originally gonna say, I think that's a time where you could consider signing a quarterback out of the UFL. Let's
Hmm.
say Alex Magoo or trying to Manny Wilkins,
Yeah, yeah.
Chavon Cordero, just give someone from the UFL a chance. I mean, your season's pretty much over. You might as well just try to see what's there, rebuild for next year.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
on to other matters. Really just I know a lot of people ask why is the UFL still going for a late March start time, and
Yeah, yeah.
you can go back about it, and I've had my fair share of discussion on this as well. Like, would February really work? But you would also have to consider that if you go into this kind of schedule, you would see a lot more games on more of the networks that don't get a lot of exposure, like FS2,
Yeah.
FX, um, which I don't think that's the direction the UFL wants to go to. You should try to strive for the more mainstream.
Yeah.
And as I'm touching up upon this, they should really only if absolutely necessary try to schedule games at 11 a.m. I'd say if you're gonna do that, try to do that on Saturdays and
Hmm.
Sundays
Yeah.
because I mean, come on now, we've seen how bad it really has not worked for like markets like Memphis,
Yeah.
Birmingham, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, Even Arlington didn't look great. I think when they were playing the Roughnecks at home,
Yeah.
um, it was pretty cold for that game too, so not a lot of people were there.
Yeah.
Um, but no, really just looking at everything, you just have to just make sure you have the pieces ready. And I don't think we've elaborated on this yet, but we still don't have a date right now on when the college draft is going to take place. But I would think that it probably won't take place until like next month or in December, just
Yeah,
because they're just trying to get everything together. I mean, they just finished with a huge announcement going to all the markets. So I think in due time we'll figure it out, and we should also be learning about what former teams like the Panthers and the Showboats, where are those rosters and coaches going to be going to? And I think right before you get into your thoughts about
yeah,
what should
yeah.
go into this, what are your predictions in what teams will go into the new markets? Like, who transfers, who goes where?
So you're saying like what players go to which teams? Is that kind of
Yeah, like
okay? Okay,
take Bryce Perkins for example.
okay. So Bryce Perkins, John Trey Kirkland, just some of those players, Brahmas and Panthers. I mean, we still have
Oh
free
wait, I
agency.
I think I'm pretty sure John Trey Kirkland signed with the Renegades.
Did it? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no. So yeah, getting back to your question, I think it's just going to depend on which team. Like it's always tough with a new team, but I think if you can you know sign this player for whatever reason, like obviously Kirkland with the Renegades, like the Renegades already have a team, so like, and I think Perez, like they re-signed him. Like I think he's getting ready to go for another QB1 season. But no, I think just the newer players, it's definitely a harder question because it just comes down to what the coach wants, and we need a we need to get a coach. We still have to get a coach for all these teams, right? Yeah. So,
mhm.
but really, I think we need that first. That's why I don't think we've seen any signings, besides in the back end, on the management side with Cardale Jones, Eric Wood, and then the Storm and the Kings also having, and the Gamblers, also having some programs too. But I think they need a coach first, obviously, because one coach could like this player, and another coach could, not like the same player. So until they get a
And then
coach, yeah,
yeah, I'm don't mean to interrupt you, but
yeah, yeah, yeah,
going on to that point, there's speculation would Wade Phillips want to potentially consider a return to Houston? I
mm,
mean, because he gave that team a lot of momentum in 2023, and when they
yeah,
had players like Brandon Silver, yeah,
yeah,
Brandon
yeah,
Silvers, Cole McDonald, they had all those guys. Would
yeah.
he really be a guy you would want to see? And then there's also speculation that Mike Nolan is
Mm.
likely to coach one of the new teams as well, which
Oh,
would make
really?
sense
Yeah.
if he has a certain contract or whatnot. But yeah, just wanted to add on that really quick.
Yeah, no, I think Mike Nolan, I'd definitely like to see him again. He's a great coach. We've seen him with success in Michigan, which obviously they won. And wait, Mike, I'm getting that right, right?
Mhm.
The defend, yeah, okay. So I mean, just like Mike Nolan, I want to see him back. I mean, I potentially want to see Peyton Pardee. We've heard of his name. I think I saw a video on his Twitter, Instagram, like his wife like was pointing the camera at him, and he's like, "When you marry a football coach," it was funny, and he was like pointing
Yeah.
out things on the TV. But I mean, you can see like he's still invested in it. So I think it would be great for him to coach one of these newer teams. Obviously, with San Antonio, he had a wild set of circumstances that weren't very much in his favor. So I think if he can build a team of his own with one of these newer markets, I think it would be a great opportunity for him. So, um, but yeah, I'm trying to think what else can cover. So yeah, in my opinion, I think until these teams get a coach, that's when I think they can start building the roster. I think they can get another. I think they all can get a coach within the next month. I'd imagine they'll get one for the draft because obviously without a coach you can't really draft. The GM can draft all he wants, but the coach is who the personnel expert is. So I think definitely we'll wait until we see the coaches for sure.
Mhm.
Um, I'm trying to see what else we can touch up on. But yeah, this is our season. This is our third season now, spring into football. If you forgot who we were, I know it's been a little while. Diego, thank you so much for joining. We will definitely try throughout the year to get features. I know we already have a couple lined up with couple players. I won't mention that tonight, but we'll also talk about pages and really, if you're a fan, you can come on. We just want to hear your thoughts. We haven't really got fans on, but we think it's a good idea just to kind of see like how you got into the UFL and like what makes you a fan of which team, like what kind of was your descendants for rooting for that team. We think it'd be a great opportunity. So
And that's another thing. We had a great experience with that last season with
yeah,
getting the Houston Gamblers Nation on. We got Defenders District on. We always had Zom Fox on,
yeah,
especially if we need him as an emergency
yeah,
fill-in. I know obviously, we're gonna try to get some players on,
yeah,
shoot, maybe even get a coach on.
yeah.
For those who don't know, Ferris is now at North Central.
Hmm.
So maybe if you know someone, you could maybe see if they want to get onto the
Yeah.
podcast as well, just like we did with Coach Ron at COD.
Hmm.
And no, there's a lot of great things coming in for this podcast, and of course, we want to try to upgrade and see what areas we could do best
Hmm.
with. I know we had some talk on Reddit. I want to shout out Callie Wood. I know he gave us some
Hmm.
advice. Shoot, maybe if all works out, we could get someone like Bucky on here as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we had Luke Lanen actually just recently re-signed with the Renegades, former North Central alumni. People in that I work with, in sports info with when we work with football, they still talk about him. I mean, just what he did for the program, his impact, and now him, seeing him re-signing with the Renegades, we can see him learn from Luis Perez. That's a great mentor to have, and I think that's going to really help his career moving forward. He's still young. I think he's what 23. Could be even younger than that. So I mean, he's still a young QB, and we definitely want to see him get the best opportunities. So yeah, Diego, do you have anything else before we hop off?
I was gonna mention this earlier, but
Yeah.
one thing that I am wondering if it's gonna happen or not. What is gonna happen with Donald Delahaye? Where is he
Mm,
gonna go? Is he even gonna try to stay in football? Because he was out for a long period of time last season. Obviously, the year before, he was out on an injury after he collided with a Showboats player really early in that season.
yeah.
Um, you know, will he maybe try to play for one of the new teams? Is he just going to be done? Who who really knows? Because I mean, early in last year, we saw him make a few kicks. Maybe it might work out. Could he be the next story to the NFL? But no, that's like another thing that really what's going to happen with that. And then
Yeah.
another thing we did not mention is that Rodrigo Blankenship, he just signed back with the Ballhawks for a second year,
Yeah.
which was really surprising to me because he did really well last year. I didn't understand how he didn't at least get one look. I mean,
Hmm.
I know I mentioned Mevis already, but he could be another candidate to sign with the Giants, even though they have Young Who on the practice squad. But of course, he's kind of went back and forth. So like,
Yeah. Yeah.
is he really your option?
Yeah.
Heck, Rodrigo Blankenship could even go to my Bears. I mean, because do I really want to deal with Jake Moody before Cairo Santos gets back? Not really. So,
I mean, Moody's
um,
been not too bad.
yeah,
I mean,
I just hope it doesn't come back to haunt us.
I just want to say I want him to keep doing good because I want to see Alex, get upset. And whenever Alex gets mad, I think it's just very very funny for all of us. I'll tell him I said that in the chat, but yeah, no. We'll definitely keep in touch with our members. We'll keep in touch with the media. I'll try to do a better job this year in terms of like, okay, when we're recording, we've kind of been on our own schedules. We've been very out of place, but We're glad to have done an episode at this point in time because we do still have a little while till the season goes on, and we have the draft coming up. We need the coaches to get on these teams. So there's a lot going on for us and the league. So we appreciate your patience and, of course, try to stay in touch with the league as much as you can, and we'll do our part and try to update you as much as we can. So um, Diego Beham Stallions Nation. Go ahead and follow him on all socials, Twitter, as well as Instagram, and obviously follow us, Spring Into Football, on YouTube, Spotify. Thank you for joining, Diego, and have a good night.
Have a good night. Thank
Yep.
you.
Yep.